Rivers Talks is brought to you by Two Rivers Biz Starts. Also by Two Rivers Main Street. And by Raleigh Point Economic Advising. And by viewers like you. Thank you.
Welcome back. We are delighted to have Mr. Rick Carey with us today, and we're going to be speaking about the Cobblestone Hotel project. And as everybody knows, there's been a reveal that was during the Main Street Week, I think is what it was called. And Lieutenant Governor Mandela Barnes was here for that, and it was a huge deal. And we're very happy for you. And one of the things I know that we'll touch on today is the fact, we'll talk about the trials and tribulations of getting this project off the ground and to fruition, because there's always Murphy's Law's, map of roadblocks.
Sure.
That are never on the map. They just kind of like happen. So thank you very much for being with us
thank you for
today.
having me.
This is
Yeah,
fantastic.
welcome. Really glad to have you here.
It's nice to be here.
And hope to have maybe sort of a broader conversation too about being an entrepreneur in the city of Two Rivers, and sort of like what you see as the climate here,
Sure.
how things have changed, because you've had a long history with the city.
I have.
Yeah.
That'd be great.
So why don't we kick off with a little bit of your background, like what's your connection to Two Rivers and your history here in the city?
Sure. I grew up in the Manitowoc area, Manitowoc Two Rivers area. Grew up on the south side of Manitowoc. My parents owned the Mazda Volkswagen dealership on Lakeshore Drive, or Memorial Drive. It was Cary Lakeshore Mazda Volkswagen. So every Saturday growing up, I would wash cars out on Memorial Drive, which is really right where the hospitals are right now. It's the surgery center now. So I was joking earlier that on every Saturday I would come and get my club sub from Fatso's. So I have a long history going back. I remember when Family Video was a Hardee's. So just a long history of Two Rivers with Manitowoc. Went to college in Milwaukee and Madison, and lived in Europe for a little while, and met my wife in Madison, and was able to come back to Two Rivers, and I moved to Two Rivers in 2006, in January 2006, and have been here ever since.
As a business owner, and as you're not the CEO of Metalware.
That's right.
What is it that why have a business in Two Rivers? What is it that made it an attractive place to run a business?
Well, Two Rivers has a great manufacturing history. I mean, I think that's a big part of Two Rivers' past and a part of Two Rivers' future. That to me was exciting. There's a great workforce here, a dedicated workforce. Specifically like at Metalware, we have a union and non-union side of the company, which is interesting. We have a very good relationship on both sides, but our union side I think we have 5 or 6 employees with 20 plus years of experience. And it's the anomaly today where people work at a place for that long. And it's part of the culture here that work ethic is deep within the Two Rivers and Manitowoc area. And that to me was really attractive. Having grown up here, especially with the Miro in the background, my neighbors were all involved with Miro in one way or another. So the metal stamping, deep draw, the work ethic, it was something that I was excited to come back and be a part of. And I noticed that when I left the area, that not everywhere around the country has that same general attitude. It's something unique to our area. It's, I'm sure, a part of our history and our culture here. And quite frankly, it was fun to come back to it and be surrounded by it again. It energizes you.
That's great. And so I'm interested in the connection between making a leap from running a metal stamping company to investing in a hotel build. So Cobblestone's a great project. We're excited about it.
Yep.
And you're one of 15 investors that are putting money into this project for the city. What was the thinking there? What turned you on to the idea of doing the Cobblestone project?
Well, it's a good story. It's a fun story. I don't know if you remember the Blue Goose in town,
Yeah, sure.
but the Blue Goose was available. It was in an estate at the time. Goose had passed away, and my business partner Ross and I thought, geez, what a great location. There's so few places here in town that overlook the water, that take advantage of the water in general. And again, coming from Madison, Milwaukee, where those cities had turned back to the water, we thought, hey, we could be a catalyst for this. We could help. We could do something with this building and turn back towards the water. Maybe do something with it. We talked to some investors, old roommates from college of ours who lived in other cities. We showed it to them, and they were excited about it as well. So we thought maybe we'd be able to buy that, do something neat with it. It's right where the two rivers come together. But unfortunately, well, I shouldn't say unfortunately because it worked out pretty well. But the city had other plans for it. It was part of their master harbor plan. The building, and quite frankly, the building was old. It was in tough shape, and it would have required a tremendous amount of work to get it back into a serviceable area. And so the city talked to us about this idea of a hotel, and that the community itself could benefit from additional lodging. The Lighthouse Inn is here in another great location, overlooks the lake, fantastic family that owns that and operates it. But there is an underserviced side of the community on lodging. So they talked to us about it, and I talked to Ross about it. We like the idea of a challenge and something that's outside our daily routines. One of the things we find that if we challenge our minds and we think in a different way, that those ideas that come out of those types of processes can translate into our everyday working at our day-to-day job. So the hotel became a project of ours after hours. We would literally say, okay, close the laptops down. We're done with the metalware business for today. Let's talk about the hotel. So that's kind of how the genesis began. And the first step for us was we did a market study. We hired a company to do a market study, and they came back and confirmed our suspicions that there was a need for a hotel. Matter of fact, it seemed to indicate that there was a deep need within our community for it. I don't know if you know this, but the newest hotel in Manitowoc County is the American Inn, and that's at this point, I believe, 22 years old.
I was going to say that's been around a while now.
It has at 22 years old, and the average.
That's right off the interstate.
It is.
That
I mean, and you're
Yeah.
really talking about the other
That
side
one.
of the county at this
Right,
point.
right.
The average age of our hotel in this community is 37 years old.
Wow.
I mean, so, there's nothing wrong with that, but it also indicates that it's an underserviced area because it's been so long since something's been constructed.
Well, and we've, I think spent a lot of time because Darla and I are both involved with the rebranding effort for the city, and some of the work that Civic Brand has been engaged to come up and do and kind of talk about like why this is a great destination, why it's a great place to do business and all that. And one of the things that struck them when we interviewed them was they said, you guys really punch above your weight as far as events that go on in the city. But where do people stay, right? And so, it makes total sense. And I'm just kind of floored, though, by the fact that these hotels are so old and nothing has been built in such a long period of time.
And I know that, like, with having the new Cobblestone, one thing that's kind of come out of all of this, and actually having Two Rivers Talks, is that through this, I have learned that there are a lot of Airbnbs in this area, which also to me is an indicator that it is an underserved type of service. And now you have like Sepia Chapel, which is going to, you're going to have wedding parties, you're going to have people coming in from out of town, to attend weddings and to attend the receptions and the festivals, and just, we're really beefing a lot of stuff up around here the draw is going to be tremendous,
And I'm glad you brought up Sepia Chapel. That was early in the process a catalyst for us. Sepia Chapel had opened. I was on the board for the Chamber of Commerce. We had an opportunity to have a meeting there, and I was blown away by how nice that facility is and what they have done with it. But I was looking at it and saying, okay, this is great, but having, wasn't that far, or long ago since I've been married, I'm like, boy, but they need lodging.
right?
And so we saw that, we're like, okay, there's another component of what makes a hotel work. And at the same time, we weren't interested in doing something that was an inclusive ballroom and restaurant. We are servicing our community with something like that. But it was a different choice. The Sepia Chapel paired with a separate hotel, and then just along the way, the Waverly was restored, which again,
Yes.
what an amazing restoration project that was. and it was right where we were going to put the hotel. So things started coming together, and of course they made that decision without us or without the hotel as being a part of it. We made our decisions without that. But all of a sudden you started seeing something build on itself, and we really started getting excited about it.
Oh, I think that's fantastic.
So when we saw the reveal of the plans and just sort of the drawings that are up there, I was really excited to see a couple of the amenities that I wasn't expecting to see. One of which was really like the idea of the meeting room and the top floor.
Wow, yeah.
That's taking a chance. I mean, we're not taking a chance, but that was like your prime real estate.
It was.
Area,
that is going to be, honestly, that is going to be the best room. And if you look at the drawings, so one of the things we did when we were putting together an investor packet is we went and we actually walked up on the Blue Goose. It was still there. We walked up on the deck and we took pictures up on that deck looking out because, and then we looked back and we thought to ourselves, well, that's only the second story of a 4-story hotel. Yeah. And the view was absolutely stunning. I'm like, Ross, imagine when this is going to be 4 stories tall. This is going to be incredible. Because you'll be able to see both of the rivers and they arch back. I mean, if you ever look at an aerial of 2 rivers, the way the rivers work within our city, and then confluence, and then out, you have the Coast Guard station, you have the breakwater, and we were so excited about what that was going to look like. So then what we really wanted to do is put a rooftop deck on. Right. That was, I mean, from the I've been probably within the first 20 minutes of us discussing this was us discussing a rooftop deck and how amazing that would be. And like your point about Murphy's Law is that, as you investigated, our investigation showed it would cost an additional $1.6 million on a $6 million project to put a rooftop deck. Right. And I can go into it, and it's fun building codes, but what it really amounted to is that there's certain building codes that a 4-story building can be within, and when it goes to 5, it's a whole different structure of building codes, which requires different foundations, different structural support, and they would consider it a living area as long as people are occupying it. And it was just, to our dismay, it just wasn't going to be a practical approach for it. Right. So what we did instead is we looked and we again, problem solving. We thought, okay, well, what about this room? We know that there's a demand for this. We know we would enjoy this. What about this room? And so actually one of the influences for this was, if you're in downtown Manitowoc, we had breakfast at Dolly's in downtown Manitowoc, and Dermatology Associates. I think it's an updated name, so I apologize for that. But they had done something very similar, and they created a rooftop deck on their top floor by kind of pulling the walls back. And we looked at that and we thought, well, we can't really do that, but could we take a room and make it a glass enclosed room? And again, drawing on our own experiences from getting married, was this idea of, there's usually that one, in a 55-room hotel, wedding parties are going to basically, or weddings in general, are going to occupy almost the entire hotel. Right. But there needs to be that one room, and it can be the couple who's getting married, but more than likely, it's one of the parents would take this room and be able to entertain in it. So we've added windows, we've made it where the bedroom is in a separate bedroom, and the windows wrap the entire room. So when you're in it, it'll be floor to ceiling windows. Cool. It's going to be fantastic.
Spectacular. Nice.
It'll be a great addition. And it was modestly more expensive to be able to do it. And there wasn't really the ROI. And quite frankly, that's what drives you on these things. But we thought there might not be the immediate ROI on it, but the idea of this being a true focal point for our community, it was worth the investment for us to be able to do that. And it was moderately more expensive, but it was definitely one of the best investments I believe that we're going to make.
I think eventually it is going to give you a return on your investment. And then also, when it's not being used for that type of purpose, that is available for meetings. Yep. And
that would be so great. And I think
it would be so nice not to be in a basement.
Right.
When you go to a hotel and they put you either on the first floor back by like the loading dock, or or you are literally in a basement, because I know at the Paper Valley, nothing against Paper Valley Hotel because I do love them. I don't like your basement.
No, and that's where all the entertainment, right? Yeah, I completely, and that was part of our thought process as well. And if you look at the topography there, you're already sitting up on a hill because it drops off to the rivers relatively quickly off of that. So one of the neat things is, and even any of the first story rooms, and there's several accessible first story rooms that'll be a part of the hotel. But when you get that second story, you're already able, and you're up high enough that you can see the Suzy Q, right? From
Right.
pretty much any room in the hotel, you can see that, and you can see the rivers come together, and from there it just gets better.
Right.
So yeah, I think that room will be fantastic, and hopefully it will have an ROI. I think, for any hotel, winter months are always a challenge, and this room will have spectacular views in the wintertime.
Well, I
That'll be
think,
neat.
I mean, especially for a room that could accommodate maybe 15, 20 people pretty easily.
I think that's almost exactly right. Yep.
It's not going to work for a conference, but it'd be really good for an executive retreat or a planning retreat for an organization or a workshop, something like that. That's my stock and trade. I'd love to do some stuff.
Or recording a segment of Two Rivers Talks.
Right, with that background,
Oh.
it'll go national instantly.
Nice,
Yeah.
nice. We'll do it.
You talked us into it.
Yeah. Twist your arms a little bit more. Well, I think it will be. I mean, I think that's going to be great. The other thing is, I get a lot of questions on whether it be a pool or not, and there will be a pool.
There is?
There is a pool on the first floor.
Oh, I didn't
And-
realize.
I didn't even realize
Yep.
that. That's awesome.
You know, it's one of those things where, in our opinion, this will be a family-oriented hotel, and
Okay.
family-oriented hotels should have pools, so
Wow.
that'll be included. It will have a breakfast area. Breakfast will be included with the hotel,
Nice.
and they do it really nice. I think it'll overlook the lake. It'd be probably one of the best views in all of the city for having your hotel breakfast. But one of the and I'd like to talk about this a little bit. One of the things that, as we were doing this, our interest really was generated by the idea of benefiting the community. So the Cobblestone has an option for us to have a restaurant in the hotel. And we made a conscious choice not to have a restaurant in the hotel. And really that's driven by the idea that there are a number of restaurants within walking distance, quite frankly, from stone throwing distance to the hotel. And we believe that the hotel will act as a catalyst for those restaurants. And I've been in tours long enough to know that there are times where we are all screaming about why aren't there more restaurants here? This hotel, part of its purpose is to act as that catalyst, as that magnet for development around the area. And obviously the Waverly's doing great, it's a fantastic place, but it'll benefit them, it'll benefit the number of restaurants that are around it, and hopefully even create a few more.
And draw, yeah.
Yeah, and draw more into our
Right.
community.
I mean, there's even the turnkey opportunity with the dock, that
Yes.
closed in a premature way. I thought it'd be an awesome place to even have some outdoor dining right there. It's just a really close walk.
They got the real estate there for
It's
it.
just perfect.
They
Yeah.
do, and and they did a really nice job of fixing that up. And I know the restaurant industry is a difficult industry,
Sure.
and it'll come and go as things go along. But I think once the hotel is up and operational, it'll be completely logical for that place to have
Right.
have a new tenant, to have a new restaurant there, and again be serving something unique for our town, and hopefully become a destination for people around the community. I think having that revitalization of downtown Two Rivers will pull people from Green Bay, from Manitowoc, even if it's just to spend a night here. And the hotel hopefully will be that, ours or Lighthouse or any number of the other establishments. But once we can support those types of restaurants, especially for those difficult months of winter, those February, March, and we can get through that, that will do a lot to help our community out, and that'll create those ancillary jobs after after
Right.
those are supported, more jobs will be created, and more wages will go up, and it will draw more people to our community, which has been shrinking in the
Right.
last 10 years. But I do believe we're on the right track to have this community revitalized, to have more people move back into what is, quite frankly, a wonderful town.
Right. And I could see the hotel being a destination in the wintertime especially because of having the swimming pool. Because I know when my kids were smaller, winter sucks, it's cold, let's go do something fun. We would go to Green Bay, we would go to Appleton, we would stay at a hotel that had a pool, and that was a destination, and it was fantastic. One thing I just wanted to mention is I really like the fact that the hotel is going to have 55 rooms. You're going to have a wonderful breakfast in the morning. Now you are going to have a bar and a seating area outside, and then we'll talk about that.
Sure.
Yeah, that was the second thing I was excited about.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're always excited about bars and outdoor seatings.
You get your Chardonnay,
You know,
right?
Chardonnay. What did you call it? My battle cry.
Your battle cry.
Um,
Chardonnay.
But the thing is, in 55 rooms, but you're doing your footprint, or to accommodate a fifth. Is that still what you're doing?
A fifth floor, you mean?
Yeah.
No.
You're not.
No,
That
no.
was the original concept. and
That
then
was the
you
original
decided-
concept.
Okay.
And again, not to get into too many of the details, but it'll be a wood frame construction. If you go to a fifth floor hotel, it has to be a
Okay.
masonry combined with steel construction.
Right.
So really, once you build the frame out, it's going to be 4 stories.
Okay, because I remember at the beginning of the conversation that
Yes.
I remember that. So I like this even better. It's going to be 4 stories. It is low profile, and it's got a gorgeous facade on it that is going to fit into this community so well. It's not going to be this big, giant, rectangular box that looms over the harbor, you know, and
Yes.
doesn't fit into the community. It's going to fit, and it's going. I love low profile.
Well, and I'd love to talk about that because a lot of times I think there's a concern, especially with a town like ours, which hasn't been, it's not cookie cutter. There's nothing cookie
That's
cutter.
right.
You have the Schrader's department store downtown, has that great unique look. You have the new Bank First National building as you come into town, or the Leicester Library. It's just absolutely wonderful architecture. And that is not lost on us. Even Metalware's facade, as you go look at it, has that ledge stone outside of it.
Yeah.
That really ties into our community. And I know you've had Michael Dittmer on here before.
Right.
I mean, if I didn't do it right, Michael would hunt me down. I
Yeah.
guarantee it. But basically, we've taken that into account, and Cobblestone's been so good to work with us on it. Many franchises, if we had done a Marriott or a Hilton, we would have no choice. It would be a certain cookie cutter design that you would do. But Cobblestone is truly their whole purpose is to fit within a smaller community. So yes, you have certain things you have to stay within, but they allow us to put a ledge stone design on the front of it, to light it like these other community buildings are lit, so it fits within the facades of the community.
Okay.
And those things are really important to us. I mean, architecturally, I think I shared with you before that we started the interview. I want it to be something I bring my kids to, I show them I'm
Right.
proud of, and it lasts beyond me. And this, to me, I mean, having that architecture fit within our community is incredibly important to me.
And I love it. I've never seen a hotel that has that kind of facade that looks like almost like townhouses
Yes,
that are right next to each other, but they're not all flush.
it's that texture.
Yeah, it's cool.
And to me, that was a big thing because the most economical way to build something is to basically make a big box,
Right.
And I had the fortune of going to Mongolia a few years ago, and Mongolia was really Ulaanbaatar was made by the Russians. It was designed by the Russians, and everything is complete utility. Everything is gray, it's square,
Right.
it's a box. And because from their perspective, they were like, yes, that's how you get the most bang for the buck. I don't care about architecture. And as I'd walk around that town, I was like, man, it's really sad. There's, well, first of all, it was a nomadic tribes that settled it. So this was the Russians came in and did this sort of like utilitarian design. And I remember thinking to
You
myself,
cannot leave.
I was like, yeah, exactly. And I escaped from there. But quite frankly, it was a great experience in my life because I got to see what you shouldn't do. And we came back here, and when you have the choice, yes, sometimes it's a little bit more expensive, but at the end of the day, it will have that longevity as a result of it. It won't be an eyesore. It'll be something that's truly a part of the community.
Right.
Yeah. Well, and I think that's one of the things that was exciting to me is about sort of inviting the community in. I didn't know about the swimming pool, but even that outdoor seating area with the fire pit
Yep.
that's going to be out there. That's going to be so nice, especially because you can extend the season a little bit with that. You can have a little bit of warmth out there. Still enjoy the outdoors and what the natural
Right.
beauty of the area.
Yeah, while we're doing this this cast right now in August,
Yeah.
the idea of Cool City is awesome.
Yeah.
In April, it can be a hindrance as we
Right.
talked about,
Yeah.
when summer's coming. But the glass facade around the outside, we actually expanded that from our original design. And originally it was going to be facing the Waverly on that side of it, and we actually, through talking to the architect, said we should put it on the side that faces south and east. You'll get more sun exposure, it'll actually be more comfortable to sit in, but that glass will actually help us be able to extend the season, we think at least a month on either side. And we'll have patio heaters that are out there as well. So
Right.
hopefully, into October, November, we're still able to use it and enjoy those lake views in the fall.
Yeah.
And when you think about it, we really do not have anything like that in our
Right.
community.
Right.
Although I will plug Tap to the Lake Shore. I see that they did something similar. I'm sure it was the catalyst for them being able to do it. hopefully they're watching right
Yeah,
now.
but I mean, there's plenty of room for both, because I think that,
Oh, yes,
that
absolutely.
totally different experiences, throwing axes and,
No, but I just think it's a great idea. I mean,
Yeah.
certainly we have nothing to do with that, but you see that we're beginning to embrace this idea of turning to the lake,
Right.
turning to the water, and really embracing our natural resources here.
Amen.
And I think that this glass patio is going to be fantastic for us. Back to the Sepia Chapel, you can almost envision somebody, when they come for a wedding, they're enjoying the outdoor patio, they're enjoying the Sepia Chapel, and all the time seeing the Coast Guard station and the rivers and
Yeah.
the Suzuki going out fishing. Those are the things that really uniquely identify our community, and people are going to be able to sit out there and enjoy that. What a lot of us take for granted because we live here and drive by it every single day,
Right.
they'll
Absolutely.
enjoy it.
Yeah.
But well, he lives right on the drive. So he's right across the street from the lake, so he gets to see
You
it
can
from
see it
his
every day.
breakfast
Yeah.
nook every day. Whereas I'm over that way, and I don't get to see. I mean, what a treat! So is the patio area and the bar, is that open just to your guests, or is that open to the general public, and we can all come in and enjoy the space?
Absolutely, yeah. It's going to be open to
I'm there.
the entire. It's going to
I
be
am there.
and that is part of our design. That's part of and to the fireplace too. I mean, we talk about a fire pit, but we actually are doing a full fireplace,
Okay.
and with the idea that hey, that's going to extend that season out more. And yes, well, hopefully our hotel guests will enjoy it as well. But we want it to be a place for the community to enjoy it as well.
Okay.
I mean, I'm excited about it. I'm on the board for Two Rivers Business Association, and as we're kind of reinventing that organization, trying to think about what we want it to be, one of the things that's been missing, that's kind of fallen away a little bit, has been sort of evening networking events.
Yeah,
I
right.
mean, such an amazing place to do that. Like right now, if we wanted to do it, maybe the lighthouse, maybe CP Chapel would be awesome. But like to have a regular place that's looking out on the lake. I mean, even in
Lovely.
Milwaukee, getting a venue like that would be really tough to do.
It is. You're right.
And so I am just so stoked about you having the place out there and being able to take advantage of those amenities and
Well, I'm excited too. Thank you.
celebrate the city. Yeah.
I think just another thing too that we forget sometimes, but we've been making as taxpayers, we've been making investments within our community, our bike trails, and what we can do with our bike trails. As we watch the car ferry coming across the lake every single day, so many more people are taking advantage of biking as vacations.
Right.
We have this incredible natural resource of being able to take somebody from Ludington, somebody from Michigan, and bringing them across in the car ferry, and then biking along this incredible trail between Manitowoc and Two Rivers, up to Two Rivers, hopefully stay at one of the fine establishments we'll have here, hopefully having dinner here, spending money within our community, and then bike up to see the lighthouse in our state forest, which is an incredible bike ride. And we've been making these investments to attract the tourists to our community, provide amenities for people who live here as well. And we saw that as a hoteliers. We thought, wow, this is incredible. It's going somewhere. And we haven't even talked about the beach yet, which is in itself an amazing thing. And the idea that Two Rivers has now allowed golf carts, the slow-moving vehicles. I don't know if it's all slow-moving vehicles or it's just golf carts, but that's going to be another great item for us. So we envision having a golf carts that we'll rent out to people so they can go back and forth to the beach. Oh, it's going to be fantastic.
We just reported on the fact that now we can have golf carts.
Isn't that great?
Yeah, and it was like, well, we're already putting our thinking caps on to have like a taxi service. In Europe,
Right?
he cornered the
It's
market.
already got it.
Yeah. It'll be. I mean, you think about bringing your family over and being able to run out to the beach and come back during the day. And a lot of the hotel rooms will actually be full. You'll have refrigerators and stoves within the hotel room, so a family can have
Microwaves?
that. And microwaves as well.
yes.
Every room has a microwave, I believe.
Good.
But basically, I think that will be a huge attraction for families to be able to come here, use the amenities we have. And I'd be remiss if I didn't talk about Ethnic Fest. And this was one of my early drivers for the hotel, is that I'm sure both of you have been to Ethnic Fest many times. It's a great celebration we have here in our community. But one of the most disheartening things for me is at 5 p.m. And it's all gone.
Right.
Everything is gone. The city, other than maybe churches at that point,
Right.
it really just shuts down. And so many times before the hotel was even envisioned was thinking to myself, how do we keep these people here in our amazing community,
Right.
and spend the money here and support our local businesses here? And I'm hoping that the hotel will play a part of that in something like Ethnic Fest or all these other festivities we have in the summertime,
Sure.
amenities have been an issue. And I believe there's a trade convention for bird watchers coming next year.
There is, yeah.
And that's another exciting thing for our community. If we can do more of that, and I
Sure.
talk to people all the time about how important it is for an economy to bring money from the outside and bring it here. It's one thing to have a manufacturing facility here in town and to pay people and the money generates within the community. But it's another thing to have money come from the outside and be distributed within our community.
Right.
That's a very healthy economy. If you look at places like Madison where they have government, insurance, universities, that economy is so robust and they have so many great services in that community because outside money flows in and gets recirculated within that community.
Yep.
And tourism it's not the only part of our economy here, but it does have to play a certain role within it, and it's a very healthy role for us.
We would be remiss if we ignored that portion of it.
Absolutely.
And it's like a 2-prong or 3-prong or even a 4-prong approach
Yes.
as to what we need to do in this community. And you're definitely on one of those prongs that is absolutely vital, and you are going to provide such a wonderful space in order for that portion of our renaissance to occur. But we're moving along on other things too, and I see nothing but good happening in this community. But it takes one person to put all of their faith into one project, and there's always the chance that it is going to succeed and succeed well, which is going to spur other people on. And you do that in all these different sectors, and all of a sudden you've got a community that there's no limit to what it's capable of doing.
Well, think about this. I was able to find 15 of those people.
You're looking for more?
Yeah.
Not for this project. We'll see what the next
Ah,
project
okay.
holds.
All right.
But 15. We had 15
That's
people.
cool.
A lot within our community. A couple from outside our community who saw the potential of what we have going on here and wanted to be a part of that. And quite honestly, I could have done more than 15. 15 is a lot on a project like this.
Yeah.
but
That's a lot of voices.
It's a lot of voices, and it's funny, you were talking about the facade outside. We gave our investors, they get to vote on certain things, and some things, like I said, cost more money, but the investors made a choice on aesthetics. Now, it was within reason, but they made a choice for aesthetically pleasing aspects of that room upstairs, and I couldn't point to a definite ROI on it. But I can say, generally speaking, we probably will get more repeat visitors, and to your point, we'll get more conferences, which in itself will probably bring people back to our community.
Yeah.
So I think there's a
It
great
brings them
story
in,
to be
it
able to
hooks
tell.
them,
Sure.
Yeah.
and you see them the following weekend.
Well, no,
So,
I mean, there's stuff like
it's
that
great.
already kind of built in. If you look at sort of the Hamilton Wood Type
Yes.
Museum that does the Ways Goose conference every year, that's an
Yeah.
international draw.
Right.
For fonts
Yeah.
and wood type and printing press, type work. I mean, that's going to give out an opportunity to grow, and more people will be able to come and stay.
And there's more guests for you. I mean, and a car show too, because there's a lot
Yes,
of people who
sure.
come for the car show who are from way out of town,
Right.
Yeah.
and they can stay. Oh,
Well, I think things
This
like
is
the car
cool.
show, the Cool City Classic, I think, there's a point of, diminishing returns where unless we can house those people, unless we can actually put them up for the evening,
Mhm.
it is counterproductive to make it grow any more than it is.
Right.
But now that we have this, I think now that hopefully we'll add another layer to it and make it more popular, because there's a point where people are like, yeah, I love going, but I really want to stay there. I
Yeah.
don't want to drive to Green Bay to get my hotel room.
now that's another thing too, is when the Packer games, the at-home games are going on, you're going to be getting business from that too.
I mean, we do count on the Packer home games will be sold
Yeah.
out. I mean, if you look at the radius of what is sold out, now granted that's not a ton of weekends that it happens,
still,
but
yeah.
everyone will likely be sold. PGA tournament, the
Oh, yeah.
PGA
Okay.
tournament at Whistling Straits, likely the whole hotel will be rented out for that. Those types of events have this cascading effect. I've already been talking to folks in Milwaukee about the Democratic convention that's happening next year, and will that impact us as well?
What are some of other types of projects that
Because you're an
might be on your
entrepreneur,
plan?
you're not going to sit on
You're,
your hands.
yeah,
right?
you're not gonna be, I'm done, that's it, I've had enough. You're gonna be, okay, we're
Sure.
on to the next thing.
Yes, we're always working on something, Right now, metalware is my focus. We have so many great opportunities. What we're doing to our Nesco brand, our Chard brand, really that is my focus right now. But what I'm hoping is that I can help others. That there will be somebody who will, reopen a restaurant downtown or another breakfast place downtown, and I'm hoping that I'll be a resource for somebody. At this point, I'm hoping in my life I'm transitioning into more of a mentor for people. It really isn't about the money anymore. I've been fortunate enough that part I'm okay on. What I really want to do is have legacies and help other people create their own legacies. So I'm hoping that my future entails me helping other people see their dreams. There are a lot of people who want the opportunity to have their own business, that have the next step, and I want to be a part of that.
Yeah, I think we're all in the same choir
Yeah.
when it comes to that. I think because that's kind of our impetus too for a lot of what we do, and it's important, and I think it's important in the large picture, but it's also, I think, important personally and individually, and you want to see other people succeed.
Absolutely.
And if you have the ability to make that happen for them, it's very rewarding, and
Oh.
it is, you're helping somebody, achieve their dream as well.
Absolutely.
And I think that, wow, I am
And
very
quite frankly,
impressed.
you really go through life, you have these experiences, and you hope it's all for naught. You hope it's not all for naught. You hope that you get to give something back to somebody else. And if you look back at history, the greatest moments in time are usually somebody passing on knowledge, passing on skills to that next generation. I've got 3 kids of my own. I hope that's a part of it. But I make myself very available within the community to meet with people, to mentor people, and to help them make those next steps. And I do a lot of that internally at Metalware or the hotel. And the one thing, my suggestion to everybody is, choose adventure, choose education, choose to challenge yourself. And if you do that, you'll never get old. I promise you.
Right.
You keep your mind nimble and getting out of your comfort zone. The hotel for me was getting out of my comfort zone. It's something I didn't do. 5:30, 6 o'clock would come, and Ross and I would close up the books for the night, and we would transition to the hotel. And it was a completely different way of thinking, and it was challenging your brain. And because of that, the next morning we were sharper going back to our day jobs.
Right.
Because your mind would be challenged in a completely different aspect. And I've shared with you that for me, some of this is my art, is my creativity. And when you get caught in a routine, and we all do it, you get caught in that routine, your brain starts thinking in a linear fashion.
Right.
And so it's like exercising. If you challenge it, your brain has a tendency to be more elastic. You think more creatively in your day-to-day life and what you do. So I would make that suggestion to anybody, choose something that's out of your comfort zone to think about, to educate yourself about, and it'll help you in your day-to-day activities.
Absolutely.
Rick, we're grateful for your perspective
Thank you.
and for your vision and for all that you're doing for the community. Sincerely,